Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers Podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Oquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll! Pet Edge is your provider for professional grooming supplies at great prices. Check their website often for new products, sales, and special offers. For a limited time, save 5% off your order with promo code TRAVELER5. Find what you need to succeed at petedge.com. Hello!
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Chris. Wow. Welcome to another episode of the Traveling Groomers Podcast with your host, me, Mary Oquendo, and Chris Bear Anthony. And we have a special guest today, Samantha Palya.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And I just got delivered tea because we hit record 2 minutes early, so that's why hubby was very confused.
All right. Your volume should go up.
But I got tea delivered. All right, it should kick back on because I hit mute for a minute there. But Samantha and lovely listeners, welcome to episode number 310, recorded on October 22nd, and that will be airing on November 19th. And someone is very, very anxious for me to throw this ball.
Now, I got a nice quiet dog here, Chris, who is sleeping in my sweatshirt.
He's quiet at the moment. He's quiet at the moment is all I can say.
I did a pet first aid instructor training here. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Pooh has not been in my office. He's a little miffed about that.
Oh, so he's mad at you.
He's mad at Ernesto because whatever goes wrong, it must be his fault.
Isn't that usually the general rule of thumb, though?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
Yeah.
Isn't that how it just goes?
Yeah. So he's really mad at Ernesto, and he's glued to me. So,
You're not allowed to leave anymore, Mayor. No more training. No more training.
well, apparently not. But it's good. I take it back. I'll be at the Arizona show in the Arizona show will have passed by the time this airs. But then after that, I don't think I'm going to be at a trade show until Groomed in March.
Yes, it's nice having a little break. I'm done until next year. I don't even know when next year. Hopefully early next year. But it's nice to have a little break from the traveling and the constant go. I don't think people really realize how exhausting it gets when you're traveling every 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes you're traveling more. You have to be on the whole weekend. And I'll be honest, I definitely needed this 5 months to like regroup again.
Yeah. No, I will be right back in February. So November and December, I'm not traveling unless you count doing a class at Celtic Canines showroom.
Yeah, that's
in
still
November.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's like an hour from me. It
doesn't matter. It's
still out of your normal routine.
Okay. So then I have December and January, and that's it.
Yeah, I started traveling in January in 2025 and didn't stop until after Hershey because I was doing working with shops and working with the groomers and all that stuff. So I was going in person to a few places. So it was a busy year, very busy year.
Yeah.
And you know who else is glad I'm home? My husband, because when I'm gone, he's got to take care of our 3 kids.
Yeah, my husband is glad I'm home, but right around February, he starts going, when is your convention again? Exactly. When are you? That's when I know I've gotten on his last nerve, when he's like, when's your next convention? When you leaving?
Well, I remember before when my husband and I, got married, we were still newlyweds, but then I got the bug to start going to trade shows again, conventions and stuff. He was like, okay, bye, and one time I did them like back to back. I was like here and gone within 5 days, 2 shows, 5 days. And he was like, okay, bye. Now he's like, wait, you're going again? He's like, what do you mean you're leaving again? Were you just gone last month?
Yeah, that's how they work.
Yeah. Right before we hit record, we were talking about traveling and trying to speak on the same day, like you drive in, and it's no, you need to settle in. You need to like refresh, rest, eat something, freshen up,
Yep.
Yes.
We learn our lessons. Most of the things that I coach with are personal experience. Okay. So when I tell people you should come in the day before, at least an hour before the workshop. That I'm speaking here from experience. That lesson was brought home very clearly when I lived in Connecticut. Beth was in New York, and we're doing the first day class at Intergroom. And I believe the class was like starting at 1 o'clock. So we can leave in the morning. It's only like 2 hours away. So Beth and I chit-chatting on to each other. And we realized not only did we pass the exit, we're halfway to Delaware.
Wait. So all of this time, half the time you tell this story, you try to blame New Jersey and our signage.
Oh my gosh.
No. And it was 100% your fault.
Yeah, no. I've always owned up to this was 100% our fault. I've blamed Jersey roads for other things. Particular. Okay. I'll tell you that one. You make sure I make my point on how bad Jersey roads are. Anyway, so we're halfway to Delaware and we're like, oh, crap. And of course, on the turnpike, it's not like, there's an exit in 2 miles. If you've passed an exit, we're talking 25 miles now. So we got more to traveling in the wrong direction before we could turn around and head back in the correct direction. We literally made it to that class with 15 minutes to spare. Okay. And let me tell you how bad roads are in New Jersey, Sam. Okay. Fair Lawn, New Jersey, in particular. Right. I'm going to my uncle's funeral. Right. Do you know how long it took me to get to that funeral home once I was off the highway?
Listen, New Jersey's not for the weak.
No, it's worse than Boston roads.
No.
Oh, yes.
One town at one point in time happened to be horrible. And I would like to say for the record,
anyone who
if you were a guy, you would be mansplaining, telling the lifelong New Jersey resident about her state. Tell me more about where I live.
Okay, I want any listeners from New Jersey to chime in and put it in the comments. Who do you agree with, Mary or Chris? Because I want to know this. We're going to put that out there, okay?
Here's the problem with
this
that.
This is not live, Samantha.
Yeah, it's not live, but when it posts, like it'll go, like, yeah.
They can watch
in YouTube, their comments on, well, I don't go to the comments on YouTube because in general, comment sections on YouTube are terrifying. So I'm like, I got enough stress in my life. But see, the problem with that, Sam, is that New Jersey people are very tribal. So when we're talking amongst ourselves, we'll be like, oh no, the roads in this town are shit. This is shit. This is horrible. This Jersey, this sucks, that sucks, the other thing sucks. Anybody else, especially Miss from the Bronx, especially a former New Yorker, says shit about New Jersey, then we're like, oh no, no.
It's like your family member. Like
Yes.
you're allowed to say your sister,
Yes.
your mom, you're like they're crazy. The second somebody else calls you crazy, it's like, wait, just drop the box. Those are fighting words. You do not talk about my mom or my sister like
Right.
that, right? I can, but you're not allowed.
I can. Yeah.
Yeah, been there, done that.
I love busting Mary's chops too. Sorry.
And it's not like I'm never in New Jersey outside of Instagram. My cousin lives in New Jersey. So I had, particularly in Fair Lawn too, by the way.
And
So,
how many times a year do you visit New Jersey?
well, not lately. I'm in Washington, but at that time, not as often as I should have. Let's leave it at that.
Okay.
Cousin
I
doesn't
bet you also think that the Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty, is in New York too.
No, it's in the harbor. Which harbor?
It's not in the harbor. It's in the Hudson River, but it's a little bit more closer to New Jersey.
All right, whatever.
She
Okay,
got
we're
me
getting
started.
we're not questions here about.
Wow,
I am not going to get into it. How many inches closer to New Jersey?
yeah, I don't know the inches. All I know is
to New York.
oh, and by the way, the reason it's in New Jersey, this is the funniest, most Jersey thing ever that I can say. The reason more of the island is in New Jersey is because they built up the island, like they made it bigger, and they used garbage to do so. So it's more in New Jersey because of trash.
Okay, I will give you that one.
Here's a fun fact for the evening.
Yep, there we go. So we
were
just
also talking about how you guys will both, well, you both will be in Mesa, right? In Arizona next weekend, right?
Well, yeah, but actually 2 weekends before when people are actually listening to this.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
after
So
2 weekends
October,
after.
you
It will
you
have
get-
happened already. We are time travelers. Woo!
You can edit that out, Chris. Sorry.
No, I'm editing.
No, we're
that.
not.
No, see, I forgot to tell you, we do have rules. I will edit out if we do something really stupid, unless it's funny.
Okay. I think I did hear that.
If we're like, that's funny. I mean,
I believe I did hear that from you a few times, actually.
yeah.
On other podcasts that you guys have done.
Yeah. Although if you go, oh my God, Chris, please. We have done that in the past. We have had somebody go, that story, could you maybe? And we're like, yeah, I mean, it's fine, but yeah. But, ew.
So tell me, what do you guys want to talk about besides that?
Oh, wait. I'm going to hit our first button and then we'll hit with topics because we sort of have topics. We sort of have topics for today, but I'm going to hit our first button if I can remember where I put it because, yeah, things get moved around now.
Okay, you know I love my Evolution swivel shears, and you even know that these customizable shears come in non-swivel as well. But did you know that they're the only ones I've been trusting my sharpening with for around 15 years, and that's how we met? What? You haven't tried their sharpening yet? If so, send in your next batch of sharpening and you'll get one shear sharpened for free with a $75 order just for telling them where you heard about them. Your shears and blades will thank you.
Okay, so things we want to talk about. You teaching in college classes about grooming education, what it's like to do all these, to do traveling and trade shows, and was it Operation Read a Page, which I have like heard in passing, but I want more in depth on.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the college. So, I don't know if many people really realize this. I've been in the industry now for 30 years. I actually started grooming when I was 17. I became an instructor for the school in which I groomed from when I was 19. So just 2 years later, I actually started doing a little instructor work, and that for the school. And then when I started having my salon, because I was 21, I opened up my salon. I did a lot of apprenticeship through my salon. So I would hire people that would start in the fundamental bathing position, and I wanted to make sure that it's something that they really truly wanted to do. So I have been teaching now for, sorry about my dog, for quite some time, but not in a formal college setting. So 2 years ago, the college came to me, local college. Hold on. The local college came to me and said,
Barking dogs are fine. It's fine. It's fine.
no,
This is a
not
grooming.
they're playing. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
I really need to get a treat or something for them. And maybe I'll just go walk over real quick and get them a treat, because then she'll be quiet, you know? So 2 years ago, I got approached from the local community college that's just a few minutes away from my salon. And they wanted to put together a program for grooming. Treats. See, I told you they'll be quiet because they get treats now.
Uh-huh.
And so I put together a program, and last year was my first year doing it in a college type setting. And we have first semester and second semester. The first semester, we talk about all the fundamentals. So we do like skin and coat, we do body language, we do nails, ears, like all the basics. They are not cutting haircuts at this point. They're just using basic. In fact, Mary, believe it or not, you were in my class last night because I went on Positive Ed, and we wanted to talk about seizures and what a seizure is and what to do. I printed out the workbooks for them. It was a really great tool. Thank you for that. But I really try to take whoever's the best at whatever we're discussing, and I try to bring either their videos, their platforms, whatever I need to do in order so they get a full, well-rounded education. Okay. I am a pet tech instructor, but I am not the expert Mary is. So I want them to hear from an expert, which is like Mary, right? So we do that. And then second semester is when we really start doing the haircuts. We concentrate on AKC pet trims. We really get into like dematting, a little bit of hand stripping. We get more in the weeds. So it usually starts September and it ends in May to become a full-fledged groomer. You get a certificate of completion. You do have to, they do clinical hours along with classroom hours, so they're getting both. And I got to say, I'm really proud of the work I've done in that. Completely different though than the apprenticeship take on it. With the apprenticeship, you kind of wing it. I mean, you still have the fundamentals. You still have a lot of these things, but like I never stepped into college until I started teaching at the college. I never went to college. I never even toured a college. So my first day in college was when I first started teaching. Well, you have to come up with syllabuses and there's a whole background. Okay. I've never done that stuff. So I had to learn how to create not only the program, the curriculum, all the stuff. When you apprentice, you have your plan, because I always had a plan, and I divided it by each 100 hours was when we actually leveled up to the next thing. But I pretty much just did it how I wanted to do it. And I didn't have to explain to anybody or give them any paper. I didn't take attendance, it just worked. So 2 totally different teaching experiences. Yeah. I will say there's pluses to minuses to both. Okay. I do encourage, I know that I keep seeing more and more people are asking, like, what are we doing after we're grooming? More and more colleges are trying to get these types of program. Ours is a non-credit course. If you're somebody that, that has a good background and you feel like you do it, approach your community college and see if maybe it's something they're interested in. I would really like to start seeing more education that is like structured education. Does that kind of make sense to everybody?
It does. And actually, what I was going to say, I think there's, like you said, there's pluses and minuses to sit down in the class versus the pure apprenticeship. I honestly think a blend of the two is perfect because you should have the classes first and then get to apply the knowledge that you get there and get that hands-on experience.
Well, what I have seen in both years, so now when I apprentice, they have to be a bather of mine, anywhere from 8 months to a year before I'll even think about putting them on the floor, before they'll even pick up a clipper. Okay. They need to learn, obviously, proper bathing, drying, different coat condition, different shampoo. Like there's a lot they need to know how to work with, body language, handling skills. Like there's a lot of different things before I'll even have them. So when they come in as an apprentice, they've already been bathing for a year. So thankfully they've got some of that, fundamental stuff going. But then they actually do really well because they kind of had that. With the school and the college, you have a lot of people that come in that never washed it. Maybe they washed their own, and they're there for different reasons.
Yeah.
Some people are there, they spend the money in the course because they just want to know how to groom their own dogs.
Which is grand. That's fine too, because there are not enough groomers.
And then you have some people that come in and they're thinking about a career change, right? And they love to work with animals. And then you have some people that know that they want to be a groomer. So there's a couple different mindsets, and even teaching to the different type of mindsets, you have to really know your audience as well, because you want them to be engaged. They're buying equipment, they're spending the money on the course. You guys know it's not cheap. It is not cheap.
Yep.
So therefore, you really want to try to have them get what they're paying for and really, enjoy the class. And I will say some people are coming in, and what I'm noticing is there's totally two different results I get. One is, oh my gosh, I did not realize how much information that there was.
Yeah.
They think they're going to walk in the door and start grooming a dog. And they don't realize, no, you have to learn this, and this before you even get to do that, because we have to think safety first. Safety for you, safety for the pets in our care, right? That's got to be your number one rule. And this is why I do talk to them about emergency situations that can happen. And this was what we were talking about last night. What can happen? What kind of accidents can happen? What kind of emergencies can happen? Like things like that. And the reason why, full disclosure, I had an amazing mentor. Okay. Jean Mulcahy taught me. She took me under wing. I owe her a lot. I owe her tons of gratitude. She took me all over the country to compete. She taught me, she treated me like her daughter. And I have so much love for that. But one thing that was missing that I realized now that I did not get back 30 years ago was we learned heavily on how to groom and not so much of the fundamental skin care, pet safety, pet CPR, first aid. And that's vital. I feel like you have to have that to be a good groomer.
Yeah, there's so much now that we almost take for granted when we go to shows all the time. And you know what? I'm going to attempt to hold that thought and hit a button very quickly, and we'll come back to that. I promise this. I'm going to remember it.
Business can seem like trying to wear too many hats at the same time when you really just want to focus on your grooming. Enter a pet care virtual assistant trained in anything you need to help run your business day to day. From scheduling and reception duties to social media management, Internet Staffing Solutions has someone trained and ready to fit your needs so you can concentrate on creating those fantastic grooms that keep your business thriving. Check out InternetStaffingSolutions.com
For more info. Oh. So when you are into continuing education and you go to shows a lot, you forget that not everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you the amount of arguments I've had with people who have been grooming for a very long time, who are good at grooming, but have not kept up on the new things, the new tools, the new technology, the new ways of thinking. Yeah, it's rough.
You know, I'm well, obviously you both know because you guys know me, I would say pretty well. You've seen me in the, at the shows, and you kind of know that I'm big into education. I've talked about it many times. I'm big being an educator and also being educated. So one of the things I always tell my students is no matter how long you have been in this industry, you just cannot stop learning. And I gave the example of what we were doing 30 years ago. A lot of stuff you wouldn't even think about doing it now. I'll give you an example. I was competing with a poodle. It was very early on in my competition years. And I started competing 6 months after I got a grooming school. So that tells you I was pretty green. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Jeannie threw me right in the deep end. Like she just went, you're going to compete, And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But I was at a show and it was a poodle, and it was actually her daughter's poodle, who was also a competitor as well. And her dog started to have a seizure in the competition ring. Okay.
Oh, God.
So, of course, the support of all the groomers around, right? We're like, go ahead, go sit down, because never happened to me. Like I said, I was green, So you're kind of like going, oh no, So I went and I sat down right where you would be watching right outside the ring. And literally, and I'm not going to bring up names or anything like that, but at the time, a groomer, very well-known groomer at that time, handed me a honey packet and said, do this. And I did it. Okay. Like I didn't think nothing of it. I did it. And now, like, Mary, you can vouch for this, is nowadays we're talking about why you got to be careful, why you can't do that, because you don't know if you have a pre-diabetic or a diabetic pet.
You don't know why they had the seizure. And yes, if they have no sugar issues, if this is something that the owner has told you or their vet has told you.
Because, ketone acidosis can cause seizures. And
right.
Giving honey makes that so much worse.
Right. But, and now, like I said, this was Jeannie was there, her daughter was there. So it wasn't like I was doing this without, pet parent approval, so maybe the situation was fine because maybe they knew. But what I'm trying to say is somebody at the time who was green like I was, and I'm doing that, not knowing all the risks, and not only that, but what else was I doing? I was putting my finger in the dog's mouth. Right? Yeah. These days, you would never do that. If anything, somebody would go and run and get Dr. Cliff and say, Dr. Cliff, you're running at the competition ring, right?
Yeah.
But we would never just do that kind of stuff.
Wait, you put your finger in his mouth while he was having the seizure?
Well, like I was rubbing the honey on the
Oh.
So that's really not smart, know? But at the time, you're not thinking, like I said, I was young, I was inexperienced, but of course now, and I used this exact example last night about things that we did 30 years ago is not what we would do now. Now, if I never took Mary's class, maybe I never took her CPR class, and maybe I never became an instructor, right? How would I have gained this information? If I was just at home, not trying, and I just did the same thing over and over again that I did 30 years ago, how am I going to improve? How am I going to evolve as a groomer or an instructor? I won't.
In yesterday's, I just did a 3-day instructor training, and one of the new instructors is a pretty new groomer. She's really a baby. Okay. And so we were talking about continuing education. And I go, yeah, you know how important continuing education is, because if not, if you don't go to trade shows, we'd still be grooming with these things. And she looked at it and she was mortified.
Were her
What?
flabbers gasted?
Her flowers were well gassed. She's looking at this. She goes, well, what is that? It's the original clipper.
Could you imagine?
That's
called the reason for carpal tunnel.
That's called pain.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt your hand. Yeah. This is why you go and you get continuing education and you see new things are going out, because I'm sure somewhere there is a person grooming with one of these, a pair of straight scissors, a comb, and a brush.
Did you know,
Yes.
tangent alert, that there are certain breeds of sheep in certain parts of the world where they still shear them by hand with big ass scissors? Not quite like that. They look like big scissors. Because with this particular wool and where they live, if they sheared them with a machine, by the time winter came, like they would shear them in the spring, and by the time winter came, they wouldn't have enough growth to protect them from the cold. So they still use, they look like.
Tell them to get an attachment comb next time.
You're right?
Tell them that there's plenty of lengths they can do. They don't take them down. And then the other point, we're talking about things that we didn't do, right? Things that we do differently, maybe for a safety reason. Heck, it can even be like, look at the way we used to groom Bichons, and now the breed has totally evolved,
Oh, yeah.
The other thing, though, is I tell everybody, and I really believe this. I know that sometimes, like, I love the trade shows. I love them. I go to them. I enjoy meeting people. I always meet somebody. I have met some of my best friends, not only in the industry, but in my life, that are like, that you really just connect and bond with. And I know I can call on them, not just about grooming stuff, but just about life stuff, But I tell them, I'm like, I know for some people you can always find an excuse why I shouldn't go. It's too expensive. I have to work. I'm tired. I have kids. I got this. There's always an excuse why. But here's the thing. I tell people, don't be like me, because I was forced out of grooming. I had a plan. Yes, I was in the process of retiring. I did already start my plan. But midway through, I actually had a career-ending injury. It actually did not happen at the salon. It happened at home, but I can guarantee you it was from wear and tear of all the years of me grooming. Because when I came up into this, and Chris, I'm sure you can remember, because I think Evolution was kind of on like one of the first ones to come out with a lot of this ergonomic scissors, right? Am I right on that? If I remember right?
Yeah.
If my memory serves me right. But like, I wasn't using, the hand saver, the handle hugger, the groomer's wall. I wasn't using.
None of that was around. Yeah.
I wasn't doing like watching the way you brush. I mean, there wasn't an importance on it like there is now. Now that we are really paying attention to our bodies, we have to go to not just see the tools, not to buy the tools, to learn about these tools and how to do it properly. Because I always say, like, I've had back surgery, I've had hand surgery, I think my whole body has been full of cortisone shots, because our jobs are hard, but maybe if I had some of these tools when 30 some odd years ago, maybe I'd still be grooming if I wanted to, my choice was taken away. And if you don't think that, yeah, some people are like, but you got to retire early. But when you go to your salon and you have, and thankfully my salon, with me in it or without me in it, it ran beautifully. Little hiccups, but I didn't have space. I have to close, right? Thankfully for that. So many people do not have that option.
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful. I want to say that. But at the same time, I was going through a hard time because I have now groomed for, at this point, 26 years. I still had this plan, and my plan just fell apart, and I didn't really know my purpose at that point. Do you know what I mean? I was hurt, so I couldn't even be in the salon. It took almost a year. I couldn't hold a dog. I couldn't hold a scissor. I couldn't even pick my arm up past here. And I literally, I never claimed to be a stay-at-home mother, you know, even though I was a mother, I was career orientated, and having that taken away was something almost worse than the physical. It was dealing with it mentally. It was dealing with the mental, like how to get through it. And that's actually how I even started coaching, because I wanted to stay in the industry. I still wanted to educate. I still wanted to do all these things. And really, so that is part of the reason why I actually entered coaching when I did, because I still wanted to give back. And, you know, I wasn't ready just to leave the industry.
And by the way, you're on my short list of people I recommend for coaching.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that, Mary. I do. I do appreciate that. That's another thing. I'm going to tell everybody out there. 2018, my business actually reached, like, it plateaued. Okay. I am not tech savvy. I've never been tech savvy. I was a wonderful groomer. I had a really good name, you know, that. When things started changing into the internet and Google ads and reviews and stuff, business was different. What I was doing back those 18 years was no longer working. And I was stuck. And I looked at that time, there was really no big time education about business education. There was little classes, but nothing like we have now. You know, there wasn't coaches like we know. I had to go outside of our grooming industry to a business conference to start learning, because there was nowhere for me to go. And again, this is one of those, we're evolving, and this is a good time to be into the grooming industry, because you have so many more avenues than I had. And I had to go pay. I mean, I had to go travel. I had to go pay. I was in programs. It's not cheap. But I will tell you, it made a huge difference in my business, therefore my life, to the point that now I'm coaching. I have 2 salons now. I'm actually considered an expert in it. And I'll tell you that I tell everyone this in my business classes. I was probably the dumbest business owner that I knew. I was a great groomer. I was not a great business owner. I was a groomer that owned a business. I was not a business owner that knew how to groom. And those are 2 completely different things.
So it's such a different skill set. And wait, I let's be back in 30 seconds. I think I'm going to hit the correct, who knows?
Pet
If I
Edge
hit
is
the
the
wrong
pet
button,
professional's
I'll fix it.
choice for supplies and equipment from top brands. Check their website for new products, sales, and special offers. For a limited time, save 5% off your order with promo code TRAVELER5. Find what you need to succeed at petedge.com.
You know, when I was trying to launch Positive Ed, there wasn't anything like it. So everybody knows Positive Educational Training was the first online live workshops at the time. Okay. But I'm struggling with the technology, and there's no other available to me. Where the information was, other industries. Other industries where this live online education was commonplace. They did things. So I grabbed the coach from that world. Best money I ever spent.
I went to the IBPSA show, which is it was heavily focused on the boarding and daycare space. And I went, and this one was in St. Louis, and this was in 2018. And there was almost 400 people there, 375 people. And when I tell you, I was literally the only groomer there. I was the only groomer there. Heavy in the pet industry, boarding, daycare, maybe even some pet sitters. I was the only dog groomer there. And I found out then in 2019 how much the boarding and daycare space hated groomers. Now, they loved me. Thankfully. They accepted me. And I met some wonderful people there. And that's actually where I found Susan Briggs and Robin Bennett. And that's who I followed for business. I got into some of their programs and everything. And they're really the ones that I owe so much of my business success to. And to the point where I ended up working with them, for them. We're friends now. But what a wealth of knowledge. And it just astounded me, the type of education that they had. They had things about, they had lawyers, accountants, they had business, pricing for profits. I'll never forget. I did a 2-day course on pricing for profits. It was called. The instructor's name is Jeremy. By the second day, and this was pre-show. This wasn't even the show, right? By the second day, my hair hurt. That's how much I thought. I had to really learn financial terminology. I had to look at my pricing. That's when I actually learned that if I was grooming in my business every day, I did not have a business. I was creating myself a job. And it was really after that I really started deep diving more and more and more. My husband actually created this monster, and now sometimes I think he regrets it. But he pointed out to me my shortcomings with not having a proper website and reviews and all this stuff. And I looked at him, I said, oh, no one pays attention. Yes, I was wrong. That was one time my husband was very right and I was very wrong. But I thank him all the time. We were newly married when he told me, you're wrong, honey. So I'm very, very grateful that he pointed me out, but he created a monster because I just ran with it. But anyways, the fact that we got this coming to the grooming industry.
Oh, yeah.
And we have coaches. We really have to value that.
And that's something that I feel like is fairly new, because throughout most of my career, I saw it time and time again. It's your people who are great groomers, and the goal is to open your own shop. The goal is to be in business for yourself, to get a van or to open your own shop. Mm-hmm. But we know how to groom really well. Mm-hmm. Business, mm-hmm. And everybody thinks it's so easy. And I've even had instances of groomers who left open their own shop, and then after a couple of years went back and apologized to their old boss. They're like, sorry, I was a little bit of a jerk. This is hard. It's a completely different skill set. And I'm not saying you can't learn it. You're an example. You absolutely can. And you should go and take that time and learn it and learn the business stuff. And even though there's more of that education coming into the grooming industry, I still think we would benefit from looking outside of it for a lot of the business things.
I very much agree. Another thing that I teach a course, and I taught it quite a bit this past year. It's called How to Make Your Business Scalable, Sellable, and Set Up for Owner Absenteeism. The biggest thing that I see that really, like I told you guys, I was very fortunate. I got hurt. I did not have to make a decision. Do I close my salon and then I don't have a job or anywhere or revenue or income or anything like that? Or do I go back hurt and then risk safety again of the pets in my care? That is a big decision. Thankfully, I was on track by that time, but not many people have that track where if something happened to them, if they got sick, they have to make that. But also, we're not set up for retirement. And this industry is not set up to do until you die. And dying is not retiring.
No.
Anybody that's out there listening, I always say that dying is not retiring. Okay. So we have to start thinking about retirement or exit strategies. And it's never too early to start thinking about that.
Yes. My husband has a chronic medical, he's kidney transplant. Mm-hmm. Plus his job is extremely visible. His knees are, he just recently got a knee replacement, but his body was shot. And we sat down and we realized that the job I was doing was also very physical. And boy, it would really suck if two broken down people in the house at the same time.
Right.
I had to have an exit plan. Mm-hmm. And that's where the whole online education came into.
Right.
So for me to do that, I was hoping to retire by 55 from grooming. Mm-hmm. Ended up being 57, but you know what? That's close enough.
That's really good,
That's
though.
Not bad, though. That's
really
not terrible.
But I was able to retire before my body broke down, and I cannot overemphasize grooming until they cart your dead body out from underneath your grooming table is not a way to live.
I agree.
And hold that thought, because we are so way behind on pushing buttons.
That's
at
okay.
this
Go ahead.
point. So I'm going to hit a button. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel. Taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse, these super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets, and now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomers sent you.
All righty.
So we were talking about
After grooming plans and having your business set up. And even if you don't want to mess with employees, because that's not for me, but I like being a solopreneur, but I still am saving for retirement. I still have to have an exit strategy. I still have to have what if I am not ready to stop working, but I'm ready to stop grooming? So we need to have plans A through H at least, because we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and everybody's exit strategy is going to be a little different, right? So mine, I wanted, when I started at 17, I knew I didn't want to groom after I was 45. I just knew I didn't want to groom. Now, I'm not saying I didn't want to run my business. I'm not saying I didn't want to still be in the industry in some way, shape, or form. I didn't want to be grooming dogs. Okay. So that was something that I set up for myself back. I think I was like 22 or 23 when I really started doing my retirement planning and stuff like that. That was my goal. I did end up retiring at 42. I do not groom anymore. I teach, I'll go in and instruct. And if I have to jump in because there's a dog that's very rare to none, I can groom. I just don't choose to. With that said though, is I had the luxury of doing that, being a solopreneur. I can never say that word. Being a
solopreneur. I have problems with it too.
Being a solo groomer that owns a business. Maybe you're not going to have a sellable business, but you still have to have a financial plan and, to retire. You need to save for a rainy day. And that's also something too that, like going back to coaching, maybe you're not a great saver. Maybe you have somebody that can actually say to you, you need to save this much money or you have to make this much more money in order to retire. And, I just think that we need to really, really start bringing that home a little bit more. So we do have groomers that have options versus, what do I do now? Or I'm stressed out. And part of the stress is because they don't feel like they have an option.
I actually have a workshop called What's Your Plan B? And I discuss about 10 or 11 different options within the pet industry, common on. And there's way more than 11.
Yes.
But to get your brain thinking about what do I want to do when my body, it doesn't even have to be your body's giving out. When you reach the point where I don't want to groom anymore, it is too physical and it's exhausting, and I want my day to end.
I'm going to be honest with you guys too. And I I don't know if you guys have this. There are some people I meet and they're like, oh, I just want to, it's my passion. I love it. I want to groom forever. I sometimes felt kind of guilty because I do enjoy grooming. Don't get me wrong, But what I did not enjoy doing anymore is I was getting bored with it. How many 7F shave downs can I do? How many 2LFs can I do? Do you know what I'm trying to say? I like today I actually was putting in a Bedlington trim on one of my employees' dogs. To kind of, I was teaching it. That was enjoyable to me, but doing the whole mundane same thing, I mean, it just wasn't challenging for my brain any longer. So sometimes it's not even like you're saying physically, it's mentally.
Yeah, no, it is a lot. And that's why if you have like two of the same dog, like in a row, like you have a client with like two Bijans, sometimes just doing the same, like it's mentally taxing. And it shouldn't, you feel like it shouldn't be, but oh my God, there we go.
Right. And I will say this is actually when I brought enrichment into the salon, it really broke up that Groundhog Day effect. Because you actually got to introduce some play and some relaxation techniques and that did change a lot of the company culture at that time, where now it just wasn't dog on the table, dog put back, dog on the table, dog put back. It really breaks up.
It's not like that. Boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
It makes it less like an assembly line, and it makes it more pleasant for everyone involved.
Exactly. And it really reduces the stress, and you actually can have a good time at work and have fun because you're seeing all the fun things and activities, and then your creativity can run wild that way. And the funny thing, guys, always laugh. I'm always saying I'm probably the least creative groomer on the planet. Most groomers are very creative. And they can draw and they can do fun, exciting things. I'm probably the least creative person in this industry. I would challenge somebody to find somebody less than me, because I'm more like a practical, kind of a person versus like creativity. But the people with the creative minds, they can really do some really cool things to get this into their day-to-day and really help their job satisfaction as well, along with helping the pets. So that there are things you can put into your day to help break that up. Too bad I didn't have it for 27 years and I had to create it myself. And
hey, I didn't have curved chunkers my entire career. I didn't have a bathing beauty when I first started. There's a lot of things that I couldn't groom without now, or wouldn't want to, that I didn't have in the beginning. But let's hit our last commercial,
and then we'll come back and talk about Operation Rita Page. How about that?
Yes, we will. We'll also hop back on topic for a minute, because I remembered actually we'll do that before I hit a button, because I'll forget again.
Okay, don't forget.
Because back in the beginning, when we were talking about coursework versus apprenticeship, and you made a great point about the bathers, I think it's so important to start as a bather, even if it's just a couple weeks training, to get that full hands-on, to see if this is something you want to do. Because when I was a salon manager for one of the big P's, that was a joy. But we would get so many applicants for bathers who thought they were going to be playing with puppies all day. Oh, I love dogs, and I just want to play with puppies all day. And I am not even embarrassed to admit, and I probably should be embarrassed to admit it, but during the interviews, I worked at seeing if I could make them run away.
Well, I had
by telling them the truth, and this is what this job entails.
You what my first day as a bather was like, Chris?
I have an interviewee come in one day and tell me that they wanted to be a bather because they wanted an easy job.
Did you outright laugh in their face?
It was really difficult, but I held it together pretty well, and I just was like, at that point, okay, I'll call you. Is I think how it ended, like within 10 seconds. Okay,
you know
great.
what? I would be so tempted. I am such an undercover asshole. I seem like a great, nice person, right? I would be sorely tempted to hire them and have their first day and have backup, because I'd be like, there's like a 75% chance they're not making it through the shift. have their first day be like a Saturday with a bunch of big stinky dogs. Just huge. Just give them the Rottweilers and the Newfies. And
you could just throw any doodle at them these days.
Any doodle. Throw any doodle at them. And then go, oof, you know what? This dog is still dirty. Put it back in the tub.
This is why I tell whenever I hire somebody in a position, I always say it. If you have a job, don't quit it. You have to do this job for 2 weeks and make sure that this is really what you want to do. Because in 2 weeks, you'll know, usually by day 2, but I say to them, there's no fault here either way.
First day as a bather, Barkley, the golden retriever, 2 months old, puppy. They literally picked up the puppy from the breeder, wanted the dog to get its first bath before he brought it home. I groomed that dog until that dog died. And all we did was play in the tub. It was the most fun I have ever had. Really not indicative of the rest of my career.
Right. And there are good days. You will have days like that. There will be days where it's like it's a light day or everybody's good or everybody just wants to kiss you and get their stinky with it. It's always the old dogs with the stinky rotten breath that just leaves your face smelling gross. They just want to love you.
This is why I don't allow them to do that. And speaking of students, I swear I had, after the class yesterday, between talking about hematomas and seizures and heat stroke and hypothermia and all these things, right? And tell them all these things that you can and may encounter if you're in, death. There's stuff that you may encounter if you're in this industry. I want to. Their faces at one point were like, just that's so like, what do you mean? You could just totally tell that they never thought that anything like this. You're working on a living creature. This stuff can and will happen. Hello?
Okay, wait. I'll hit a button. And then I have a story for you that you can share with your students on stuff that actually happened. And then we'll talk about Operation Read a Page. I had it all queued up and now
it's gone.
It's gone. As a house call groomer, the idea of van and generator maintenance had kept me out of one for years. But Hanvey Engineering and Design has been making mobile grooming vans for 20 years now and has thought of that. No generator to maintain, repair, and replace. No propane to fill or worry about running out in the middle of winter. Hanvey vans have the lowest operating costs out there. I know I'm sold, but check out their latest innovations for yourself at hanvey.com. Okay, so it's not necessarily a medical thing, but this happened in a salon that I was a bather in before I got my grooming training. And it was right around Christmas, and somebody brought in this dog, and it was a little Shih Tzu-y thing. This was over 20 years ago now, and it had poop caked and dried on its butt so bad that the groomer is like, oof, I got to shave this before I get it in the tub. And actually at the time they did a lot of pre-shaves. Nothing went right in the tub. This was over 20 years ago. And the dog had to be shaved anyway. She's like, she cleared that butt and the dog just started pooping because it hadn't been physically able to poop because its butt got sealed off. And it's just on the table and it just pooped for like 3 to 5 minutes straight. Just poor little bastard, just poop. It must have felt so, I can't imagine the relief that dog felt. Can you imagine not being able to like poop for a couple days and it's there, it wants to come out. It just couldn't poop. So feel free to share that story.
You know, Chris, I think that if I ever have you come out and teach for a visiting teacher, I'm going to reserve that for you.
Okay.
You can just tell that story. We're just going to say that's your story.
I'll also tell them, you have true friends. This is why true friends are made in the grooming community. Even if you never see these people again after you leave that shop, you've got a true friend when you can walk up to a coworker and go, Does my face smell like anal glands? Can you sniff me right here, please?
Or you ask them to smell your dog's rear end because you're not sure if it does smell because it's like it's stuck and you're just
It just put anal glands in the face. That's friendship right there.
I'm thinking of a whole nother thing, and I don't even know if I should even talk about it. Or if it accidentally shoots across and hits the person next to you.
No, I know I've told this story on air before.
I'm sorry.
No, but so I was explaining to a client once because they asked about it, and I forget if they were dropping the dog off or picking it up. So I explained, and I was showing them like, so this is, for those of you not watching, here. So this is the dog's butthole. And I just go like this. I don't put any pressure. I literally just put my fingers and it shoots out on the guy's pants. And it was a couple standing there. And the woman starts laughing her ass off. And I'm like, oh my God. And I start to like dab at it to try to clean it up. Until I realized exactly where it hit on his pants. And I was like 2 inches max from like the crotchal area. And I just stopped. I'm like, oh, and I got even more flustered. I thought she was going to get upset that I'm like groping her man. I thought she was going to fall on the floor, piss herself laughing at him. And it was a nice suit pants. It was like a nice pair of dress slacks. It wasn't like cruddy sweatpants or anything.
So anyone that's listening and they can't see me, I can barely breathe right now. Because
I'm like, it was, that dog. Anyway. Operation Read a Page. Operation. Yes.
Operation Read a Page. And actually, I'm going to bring a little special guest on with me because you just came back downstairs. So perfect.
Notice my language has been really good this show because he made an appearance.
He actually was upstairs this whole time, but he just came back down.
Oh, okay.
Well, he did come down about 5 minutes ago. Can you be a little more quiet, Mommy? Because I can hear you all the way upstairs. I said, shut the door. So
hello.
This is my son, Jackson. And
I said that?
Yes, I said that. This is my son, Jackson, and he is the inspiration behind Operation Read a Page. So unfortunately, this year, I talked about how, I don't know if I talked about the pre-show or both, but I did a lot of traveling this year. And, being a little kid, it's hard being away from mom. And I was away at a convention. I was gone for a week. And so when I got back, he was struggling a little bit, Well, I was supposed to leave for Groomed the following weekend. And I just couldn't do it. I really needed to be here for him and to support him. I just as a mom, I had to put my child first. Yeah. So when it came to, and that was Groomed as the first weekend of March, and Intergroom this year was in March as well, a few weeks later. Okay, so now if I went again, I was going to come home and basically leave again in 2 more weeks. So what I did is I decided I didn't want to miss Intergroom. I was looking forward a long time to go to Intergroom. I haven't been there in 20 years. So I decided, instead of taking a flight out there and going by myself, I decided to grab a friend, take my son, drove the 14 hours to get there so he can come with me. So I didn't have to miss the show. I didn't have to worry about him. He came with me. You could see what mom did. Well, I was laying in bed and I'm thinking, gosh, I wonder what I can do to kind of keep him entertained, right? So I ended up buying this book for him that was called If I Ran a Dog Show. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to bring that book. And what if I got, people in the industry to read to him? I wanted him to learn about community. I wanted him to learn about friendship. I wanted him to learn about kindness. And I said, what better place? Because look at all the friends I've made and look at our community. We have a strong community. One thing I love about our industry. And so I brought the book and we went around and we started asking people I put it on Facebook, and Dana Chavez, she was wonderful. She was like, I want to do that. And so she came and she had her little cats, and read to him, and I had Jay Scruggs and Sue Zecco and Denise Haru and Amanda McGrath and Pat Storbeck. Hold on a second. Reading to him. And for days after we got home, even weeks, he would talk about this book and the experience he had. And it was really, I had a great intergroom. Like I had great classes. It was really fun being back. It was great being my friend Julie, who I haven't traveled with in 20 years. But overall, the biggest takeaway and the best memory I have of that whole entire weekend was the joy and happiness he had being read to, and just, he was so excited. So after seeing that, I love to read, and I used to be on a school board, and unfortunately our reading, kids being able to read, it's really sad, but it's lower than it really should be. And so this is not only what it did for my son, but it's also a personal thing that I love. I love to read. I love to have people read. So I wanted to bring this to other children that can come to the shows. I wanted them to be able to come, be entertained, let the parents come and be educated, bring their kids, have a bonding. I want them to see our industry. I want them to see the kindness. I want them to see what it means to be part of the group. I want them to be immersed in it, but I also want them to be able to read and enjoy, have an imagination and look at pictures. So I started Operation Read a Page, and I invited Tommy Stackville, which we all know, and Stacy Allen from Cosmos Bathing Systems. And so the three companies, what we do is the Richard Stylists and them, we purchase the books, and then we bring them to the trade shows. And then if you bring your child with you and your child is there, you come to one of the booths and we give you a book for your kid and the kids that you have with. So we're passing out these books. And I mean, honestly, I just started a Facebook page, actually it's very new, but if you can just see some of the joy that these kids get when you give them the book and you're reading them, just a page, just one page. The joy is just so overwhelming that it makes my heart just smile. And I know what it did for me as a mom. It was amazing. And now I always have everyone's autographs too. But if I can give back, if we can give back in that way, that's another way I can give back to our grooming community, in another whole different way. And it can be just as rewarding, if not more.
I love that.
And I will not be a Mesa, but Tommy and Stacy both will, and they will be bringing books. So if you see a child, please tell them to go to one of the two and go get themselves a book. We're our last show 25, and then we already got our next book for 2026 picked out. So we're really excited about this.
Well, I'm excited too. I feel horrible. I missed that. This intergroom this past year.
It's busy.
No,
it's busy.
Yeah, that Mo had a little bit of a health issue. Mindy and I were running the booth by ourselves with some help from our brand ambassadors that weekend. That it was just it
was really hard, right? I remember.
Particularly rough show.
It was really, I remember that. And no, please don't. Just know that there's going to be so many opportunities.
Yay.
To, if I have my kids with me, because I had Paige there and at PetQuest, I brought her to PetQuest with me. And she was too busy riding around with Shannon Winnings and Jess Adorno's little scooter there. So she had her own thing. She had her own thing going on there. So she got her own type of community outreach there. But she brought a book and she had some people reading to her too. And again, they keep these books. It's just really something they're always going to remember. And the nice thing is they got to come in, like Jackson and Paige both actually got to sit in a class of mine. Like they want to listen to me talk even more, right? Well, they were both in classes and it really helped them understand what I do when I leave. They were really able to understand mom's working and this is what she's doing. And that helped too. So, if you have a child, bring them with to a grooming show and let them see what you do and expose them and help them, really bond with you in that way.
I have an idea that I'm going to bring up off air because I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but don't let me forget to bring that up off air. I have an idea for shows.
Right. So I just want to end up too, just to piggyback on reading. We have book club now on Facebook for groomers.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to have a couple more episodes for the end of the year, and then we're going to start up again. We're going to break for the holidays because, no one's listening.
Yeah.
And so starting in January, our goal is to do 2 book clubs a month.
Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome. I really do. I think reading, I know everyone has their phones, right? We have.
I read with my ears.
Yeah,
these days because that's the only time I have time for.
Me, thank goodness people listen to podcasts, or I would not be on here, right? but I am so relaxed, and when I can read, and I love having a physical book in my hand. It just even when I'm learning, I love that physical book. I'll print it out or the paper, and I don't want to see that go away where kids don't have that opportunity to physically have that experience. I feel that we're really going to cheat our kids out if we're not promoting some sort of reading, so you could ask my kids at home. I'm big on making sure they know their reading. They know their sight words and they look at me, Jackson, but it's so important for them to have that skill in life.
Nice. So is there anything else? Because we've been at it. It's just over an hour. Is there anything else you wanted to go over? As my dog is very insistent.
No, not really. I think a lot of people got the opportunity to know a little bit about me. If you're ever looking to learn about enrichment, of course, that is something I would always love to talk about. Hopefully I'm working on a new program for that next year. So hopefully we can get that more introduced, or any kind of coaching opportunities. I'm here for you. But no, this has been a great discussion, and I want to thank both of you for having me on tonight.
And thank you for bringing that to the college level, because I think it's broadened so many people's horizons. Just the fact that someone who wants to groom their own dog or thinks they want to go into this can go and get that kind of basic knowledge is awesome.
Yes, I agree. But no, I'm happy to come back on anytime you guys. Anytime you want to have me and Iron Man back on, we're happy to.
Woohoo!
Right? and Jackson, he's always happy to come back on too.
All right, so we're gonna say, Jackson, come wave goodbye to everybody.
You're gonna come wave goodbye to everybody. Say bye.
Bye. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, and happy grooming, guys. Safe travels.
You and your cup.
Well, that was fun. But now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels.